Alright, so as promised, this is the technical video where I'm going to get into implementation details and really show you how the site is built. Now, if you're only coming at this from the business angle, this video might be a little more involved than you're used to. So watch it if you want to know what your developers are doing. Otherwise, just stay tuned to the business side of the video series. So right now I just pulled up a terminal. I store my projects in a directory called work, and I'm going to pull up my browser. I'm using TextMate for this project, which is pretty common in the Ruby on Rails community. If you're not familiar with Ruby on Rails, it's a web framework that uses Ruby, and you can get more information at rubyonrails.org. But basically, this is what the application layout looks like when you're using this framework, and I'll just briefly show you how this works. There's config directory, and basically where the responder starts is route. So right now I've got a route set up for route to direct to my welcome controller, and that's all under here. And basically all the welcome controller does is renders a welcome view, just here. And I'm using Haml, which is a template engine. I think I've talked about it on my blog posts in the past, but basically you can find out more at hamllang.com. And Haml is a templating language with an indented syntax that basically allows you to describe your HTML in this tree form, where leaf nodes on the tree, every node on the tree maps to an HTML element. And there's special syntax, like for a div, for instance, starts with a dot or a hash, and other HTML elements, standard HTML elements, start with this %sign. So this will be converted to HTML on the fly, and it's a lot shorter than the HTML that would be used alternatively. I'm also using Haml in my layout, so you can see my layout here. And together these templates will be combined to produce the HTML. So basically all we need right now is a form, which you can see here. I've got a form. I'm rendering a partial. This is what the code looks like from the form. And I'll just pull up the website again so you can see what this looks like. So that Haml gets translated into this HTML output. And it's a lot easier to maintain this, in this form it's a lot shorter. I don't have to worry about the close tags. All that is handled, the positioning is handled by where it sits in the indentation. So I'm using 2-space to indent. So if you want to know more, visit that Haml-Lang website. Plenty of you probably already use Haml and enjoy it. So I'll move on. So the only other things that are involved right now in the code are the use of 2 gems, and then I'll just describe the deployment infrastructure on Heroku. Alright, so basically I'm using the Twitter gem. Right here you can find it on twitter.rubyforge.org, and I'm also using this delayed jobs gem. Heroku uses a delayed job for background workers. Let me show you what's going on at Heroku. Basically, Heroku gives you a way to easily deploy and scale your Ruby on Rails application, and it uses the Git versioning control system that I've described before on a blog post. But basically, you set up your project, and then you install Heroku as a gem, and you can easily deploy to the cluster. And anytime you need, as your application grows, you'll need to scale it, and Heroku makes it easy to do this through this resources view. You can see right now I'm in this Blossom profile, and as you scale I can add web instances just by sliding up this slider control. Now dynos basically horizontally distribute your web load, and then workers are how they've named their background delayed jobs. And let's look at what that looks like in code. So the delayed job for polling for website uptime, I've got it set on a 1 minute interval right now, and this is the code that does it. So what it does is it starts up and it uses the mechanized gem to grab the web page, and then you can see here it grabs the page, and then if there's any sort of error, which Mechanize will throw an error if the web page doesn't load, then I'm sending a tweet. Right now I'm just sending it to myself, and then it queues up another job in a minute to do the same thing basically. So I'm using the Mechanized gem, the Twitter gem, and that delayed job gem. Now Heroku already comes with some gems pre-installed. You can see which ones at this page. Otherwise, what you need to do is you can bundle them up using the bundler gem and deploy to Heroku that way. Deployment on Heroku is very simple. Basically, it's just all it comes down to is a git push. So using the git versioning system, you can see all the updates that I've made to the project here. There's only about a dozen of them, and half of them are probably just getting used to how to use bundler for deployment. So that's about all I wanted to walk through in this session. I'm going to briefly touch on what the next steps are. I'm going to get a blog set up, and it's important to get a user management and payment system set up very soon. So I've looked at using Spree for this. I haven't used Spree in the past, so I'll document my experiments with getting set up and using Spree. But basically, Spree looks like it should have some extensions here for getting set up with blogging, as well as subscription-based billing, and so that's going to be the next step, is just getting set up with this. And it comes as a gem, so it should be fairly simple to get that set up, and that's what we'll do next.